Today is March 31st, Tuesday, in the year 2020. Hi!
It's episode something. I'm Sue.
I'm Michael, and we are a close-knit family. We are a knitcast coming to you from Armstrong in the North Okanagan region of British Columbia, Canada, following our adventures in yarn and knitting and our addiction.
And something along those lines.
We're freewheeling today. We don't have any notes, so...
Holy crow! It's this isolation.
Yeah.
And oh my God, is today Tuesday?
Today's Tuesday.
I literally have not stepped outside since Friday.
About par for the course for most people. Well, for other people in this isolation is what I mean.
I know, but like, you know, we were going for walks daily
Yeah.
and stuff, right? And so Friday, and then on the weekend, everything kind of goes.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a good day yesterday.
Yeah.
I was really tired and maybe a little bit depressed.
Only a little bit?
Just a little bit. But anyway, so yeah. But so yay!
Yay!
Knitting!
Knitting!
And yarn.
Skies above Armstrong.
Yeah.
It rained yesterday.
It did.
And today is looking pretty sunny.
It was snowing in places too yesterday.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to miss the snow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And you managed to get your insurance over the phone.
Yep, mere minutes ago. My car insurance had run out, so I was able to renew that over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very kindly.
Okay. And it's Girl Guide cookie season.
Yes, it is, and unfortunately,
The Girl Guides can't
go
get
out.
cookies to you.
But London Drugs and another store, I was just talking to Robin about this.
Are selling cookies.
Yep, they are selling the Girl Guide cookies on behalf of the Girl Guides.
So if you like Girl Guide cookies, or just to support the Girl Guides who can't sell their cookies right now,
when you make your grand pilgrimage to the grocery store, do consider picking up a box of Girl Guide cookies.
but only go to a store that's selling them if you actually have to go to that store.
Exactly. The store.
Don't just go to the store because, well, although, whatever. Anyway, and only go out if you have to go out.
Yep.
And if you know a guider or someone who's in Girl Guides, maybe contact them and say, hey, how can I get my hand on some of those yummy Girl Guide cookies? This was not a paid promotion.
No.
We are not supported by...
Well,
we're not
sponsored by the Girl Guides.
by the Girl Guides or Girl Guide cookies. We simply are fans. Okay! Yay! Knitting!
Knitting!
Yes!
Yeah?
It's my Soldotna.
It is, and what a very nice shirt it is.
Soldotna by Caitlin Hunter.
Yes.
99% of the yarn is Ella Rae yarns.
99%.
It's superwash yarn. Now, I did make some adjustments to the pattern. So if you have been following along with us, you may recall that I made a Soldotna about 6 months ago.
About there, yeah.
And while I I loved it. My first run through, I followed the pattern for my size, like word for word.
Right.
And I ended up with this skirt that, anyway, way too big, basically, from the arms down.
Yes.
So.
In
that pattern, it had recommended casting on about 20 stitches on both sides.
Yep.
At the underarm.
Okay.
So with my old Soldotna, what I ended up doing was ripping it back to the color work and re-knitting it without the extra stitches in the underarm and making a few decreases down the sides. So I did that again this time. Something else I did. My size, I would have knit the entire color work section. It would have come down to about here, about probably 4 more rows of color work.
Okay.
I prefer the look of it when it's a bit shorter, the color work.
Yeah.
So I did the color work shorter, but I still knit all those rows. And I knit a few extra ones even after that before I separated for the sleeves. I did not do the flea stitch in this section because I was lucky enough that the colors, these colors match these colors. So I didn't need to do that. I also did not change back to the purple down around the bottom.
Okay.
Purple's a great color.
It is.
It's not my favorite color.
Okay.
It doesn't go with a lot of things in my wardrobe. So I thought it's one thing to have it up here as an accent, but if it's going to try and match up to my wardrobe, I probably don't want it down there. But I did cast off with the purple.
Okay.
Just to bring the purple back because I do think it's good to tie it together.
Okay.
On the sleeves, again, I knit a few rounds before I started the cuff.
Okay.
And instead of doing a ribbing for the cuff, I did a knitted cuff with a fold over.
Okay.
So with the the purple is just peeking through on the bottom of the sleeves there.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I would have made the cuff a lot longer than I did.
You live and learn.
I didn't. The other thing was, with my last Soldotna, the neck, when I'd finished it, was way up here, and that was not what I wanted. In Caitlin Hunter's pictures, it's very wide. So again, I ended up cutting off my neck at the top, the neck of the sweater.
Yeah.
At the top of the color work, and then redoing the ribbing with no additional stitches up above it. So in the pattern, you start with a neck size, you have some increases, you have some short rows, and then you start the color work. And so with this, what I did is I cast on the number of stitches for where the color work started. I did about a 5 or 6 row ribbing and then started the color work. And I am super happy with where this neck is. I'm really, really happy with kind of everything about this sweater. So yeah, that was my very successful, and so when I did the body, I didn't add on underarm stitches.
Okay.
And I did decrease, I think I did about 4 times. I did a single decrease on each side. So I probably decreased about 8 stitches.
Okay.
Going down here. And so there we go.
There you go.
I'm very, very happy with this. I have to admit though, I am probably going to add a little bit more length to it.
Okay. Alrighty.
Because I can.
Yes.
That's why we knit our own things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, I don't have any faux. Do you have any other faux?
No, carry on. We're just winging it.
My whip is still my socks using the Noro yarn. And I've got a couple more rows on those and a couple more color alterations, I guess. Yeah. Having this, I'm realizing again with these socks as well, I should have done a gauge swatch because you guys may not be able to see it, but we can see right through the fabric when I give it a slight tug.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just a little bit.
But you know what though, Mike? This yarn, Noro, it's gonna bloom up a bit.
Yeah.
And and because it's a thicker yarn, I don't think that's really a problem.
Okay.
So, and you're using, Mike's using a pattern I wrote for worsted weight yarn.
Yeah.
Because this is a worsted weight yarn. That I wrote for worsted weight yarn for hiking socks that I knit for our local yarn store.
Yes.
They basically follow, and he's also following because Mom told me to. Basically, he's getting numbers from one. It's kind of, it's
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah. And yeah, so this is, Noro Tabby yarn.
Tabby.
Yep. It is 65% wool, 35% polyamide, 150 grams to 375 meters, and this is color number 8. And yeah, so here's the ball that I caked up, and here is the rest of the ball as it came. And yeah, so you can get a good look at some of those colors, because I'm really fond of Noro yarns and the way that their colors band.
Oh, these are gonna be so cozy.
They're gonna be so cozy. It's a very woolly wool, and it's very nice.
Except, I mean, having said it's woolly, it's not pricky.
Yeah, it's called it has a halo.
No, it doesn't really have a halo.
Oh no, I'm just using words that I've heard you use.
Well, I guess it does have a bit of a halo.
Yeah, just a little bit of fuzz.
But anyway, it's not a smooth wool.
Yeah,
but it's very soft.
Yes.
Okay. So I've been trying. Well, okay. Things happened. So on Friday, the Shetland Wool Week hat for this year was launched.
Okay.
And well, I'm probably not going to Shetland Wool Week anymore.
Darn.
We don't know that for sure yet, but I think it's pretty. Yeah. Anyway, I still wanted to jump right in there and like make the Shetland Wool Week hat.
Yeah.
So the Shetland Wool Week hat called for 3.5 millimeter needles. I've also told myself, I said,
yeah,
if your needles are on another project, you have to finish that project before you start a new one.
Yeah.
So
they're on Wingspan.
My needles are on Wingspan. So
okay.
So I've been concentrating on getting Wingspan finished. And
Yeah.
in case you've been on tenterhooks wondering what was going to happen with the running out of yarn,
well,
I ran out of yarn.
She ran out of yarn.
But not, I guess you could say not as soon as I thought I would.
Okay.
Which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. So here's where Wingspan is at.
Okay.
With a ball of yarn hanging in the middle of it. So
exactly.
I have cast off 1/2
Ooh.
of the feathers. So
oh yeah.
Can you pull out a feather tip or two there?
Yep.
So see, they have these feather tips.
Yeah.
So I cast off 1/2 of the feathers into the middle of the shawl.
Okay.
And when I got there, I had this much yarn left.
Probably not going to be enough.
This would probably do 2 feather tips.
Okay.
So it wasn't going to do the 12 or whatever that I need to do for this side.
Right.
So because I can't go to a yarn store and pick through yarn and try to find something perfect, I went stash diving.
Yep.
And I found this yarn from Midnight Cravings, which is your pretty standard sock yarn. It's called Smoke and Mirrors.
Okay.
It is an 80/20 sock yarn. And it was a mini that I had. So the colors are not like a perfect match, but it's gray.
Yep. It's close enough.
So that's what the tips of my feathers are going to look like.
Oh, you'd hardly notice.
On the second half of the shawl.
It just looks like another gradient.
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
I'm okay with that. So, yeah, now the first half, the feather tips were a bit, well, they went actually quite quickly.
Okay.
The second half is the exact same thing, but like pearls where there were knits and knits where there were pearls.
Backwards.
Oh my god.
Yeah. once you got in your rhythm for the one side, it's hard to...
Well, at least I understand what's happening with the stitches, so
Right.
I don't have to like constantly be staring at the pattern and figuring out what does the rearrange 9 mean and what does the various stitches mean. But purling 3 through the back loop sucks rocks. Anyway,
purling 3 through the back loop.
And that's after you've done some cabling to them in the meantime. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna get this finished up here. If I really focus on it, I might get it finished up today. I'll get it blocked and I'll be able to show it to you finished next time. But just for, that's what the two different wing tips.
Okay,
feather tips look like.
Yeah.
Anyway, they'll be great.
It will be great.
So I'm looking forward to getting this done. And so as soon as I free up these needles, I will cast on and make my Shetland wool week hat. And I may or may not be going to. Dad's hat is going great. I did not bring it to show because I think he's only done like one row. So not a lot to, ooh and ah over.
Oh yeah.
But now what did I say? We were talking about it the other night. I think I was showing it to some friends on Facebook or whatever.
Yep.
And I said something about I didn't think the hat would fit because it's getting tight and blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh, that's okay. I'll make another one. Right?
Good.
I'm like, yes!
Join us.
Join us. The other thing that happened last week was I had my yarn out and I said, that's it. I'm going to cast on as soon as we are done here.
Yes, for Simple Summer Sweater.
For Hohi's Super Simple Summer Sweater.
Yes.
And so I kind of did. I cast on my gauge swatch.
Yeah.
And so I did my gauge swatch.
Yeah.
And because this yarn has a fairly high, this is Juniper Moon Moonshine.
Okay.
It has a fairly high, well, shoot, what is it? It's, I think, 40 alpaca, 40 wool, and 20 silk?
Silk, okay.
I think. Anyway, I know that alpaca, superwash and alpaca both have a real tendency to grow and to stretch. Alpaca drapes really nicely. So I measured my gauge and I was like, okay, my gauge, I've got too many stitches per inch. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. I can work with that as long as I know what my gauge is. But then I thought, wait a minute, this stuff is going to stretch like crazy when it's being worn and stuff. So I spent an evening wearing my gauge swatch like that.
Yep.
And just doing stuff, and slowly but surely it started falling off my arm. Yeah. Which is exactly what I expected it to do. Even though maybe I didn't want it to, that's exactly what I expected to do. So then I re-measured my gauge. Okay. And it was bang on pattern gauge.
Nice.
So, let this be a lesson to all of us. A, do your gauge swatch.
Yes.
B, if your pattern's knit in the round, do your gauge swatch in the round. Don't be cheap with your yarn. I can rip this out and use the yarn if I run out at the end. Because I know a lot of people will say, I don't want to do a gauge swatch because I don't want to run out of yarn. If I have to, I can pull this out and use it. So I'm not, I could have gone, this much longer and I still could use it. I washed it. Yep. I blocked it. Yep. Now blocking. Let's talk about blocking for a second. Okay, it's another thing. We'll go back to that in a sec. I washed it. I blocked it. Exactly what you're supposed to do, right? Yes. Do to the swatch what you're going to do to the sweater.
Exactly.
and I didn't get gauge, but I took into consideration superwash yarn, alpaca, and I gave it a wear test. I didn't plan for this to fit my arm.
But it did.
If I'd had to, I could have pulled it on my leg or whatever.
Yeah.
But I gave it a wear test and it did stretch out even more. So even if once I finish the sweater, if I put it on and maybe it's a little bit snug, I know it's still going to stretch out.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about blocking. I find that there's some misunderstandings about what blocking means. Blocking really means washing your yarn or washing your project.
Yep.
And laying it out flat in the shape that you want your finished project to be in. That's what blocking means. Basically, washing your project. Sometimes there are things that require being stretched.
Lace work.
When they're blocked. Lace work. Anything with that you want to open up. You might want to pull your cables out. It doesn't mean necessarily pull it to the full extent of what you can get it to do. It means make it the shape that you want it to be. So there are people who are like, oh no, I don't bother block. It's just a sweater. It's just a pair of mitts. I don't need to block that. Well, when you wash your project and you lay it out flat in the shape that you want it to be, your stitches are going to lie better. They're going to look nicer. Some people do steam blocking. Great. That does not mean ironing with a steam iron. You do not want to ever touch your garments. You can with wool, but not too hot. You don't ever want to touch your garments with a hot iron. If there's any nylon or acrylic or anything in them, they will melt. But you can use the steam up above your project. You can put a wet towel down and iron over it and get that steam going through it. But if someone says you don't have to block something, I disagree. If you look at two things, one's blocked and one's not blocked, and they're the exact same, the blocked one's going to look nicer. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is. But it doesn't mean stretching it out, right? It can just be as simple as laying it flat. Now, when I did my swatch for this, which was in the round, and you might remember it from last time, I was wearing it as a hat and things, I did stretch the crap out of it. Because superwash yarn, and I wanted a somewhat accurate measurement before I made this. So, there you go. That's me on my blocking high horse again, which we all know I've been on before. Now okay, so one other thing. I finally figured out what I want to do for my next, what I'm going to do with that silk linen yarn that I have. Or silk merino, or whatever. That summer yarn I have. So I went into my stash and I looked at it, but I also thought, and there's a reason this is still in a plastic bag, I also thought it would be kind of, what I want to do would be kind of neat made out of one of these gradient balls. But what I wanted to show you, because a lot of people say, how do you store your yarn? And I store all of my yarn in plastic bags. And what I want to show you why, because it didn't work. Do you see that little speck there just in the black up at the top? Right there.
Yep.
That is a casing of probably a carpet beetle.
Great.
Possibly a moth. Probably a carpet beetle.
Great.
So even though, I mean, it is, okay, there's air in here, but it is airtight.
Yeah.
Even though I've had it in plastic and airtight, and what is this made of? This is 100% cotton. Cotton isn't usually a problem. It's usually wool because they like protein.
Yep.
There's more than one of those in here. There was another one that I saw too. So the casing's probably fallen down into the bottom of the bag because I've been playing with it so much.
Yeah, possibly.
Anyway, that's why I store all my yarn in plastic bags. And I do that as soon as I get it. Like, I don't put it in the cupboard and then go, oh, 6 months later, I better put it in a plastic bag. So this yarn came to me with a carpet beetle.
Darn.
And that's the other reason I store my yarn in plastic bags, because I don't want something that comes into my house to potentially infect.
Yeah.
It's just like COVID-19!
No.
So I don't know what I'm going to find. If I'm going to find that this yarn has sections that have been chewed through. I'm hoping not, because they don't like cotton. But this yarn might be somewhat broken up partway through. But we'll see. So that's my other little thing
Alrighty.
for today.
Okay.
All right, Mike. Do you have something to bring to the table?
Yes, I had. It was my birthday.
Yes, it was.
And kind of right at the start of all of this self-isolation stuff. And Robin, my beautiful girlfriend, got me one of the board games that was on my list. And you also got me one of the board games on my list, and I'll show that another time.
That will come up in the future.
So today I am bringing to the table, now that I actually have it live and in person, because it has been on this segment before, Galaxy Trucker from Chex Games Edition by Vlada Havadl, who some of you will say, "Hey, I recognize that name," and you should, because Vlada Havadl is also responsible for Codenames. Yeah, in Galaxy Trucker, you play as a space trucker for Corporation Incorporated, where you run some of the most dangerous routes in the galaxy, carrying some of the most high-value cargo. Truly, only the job that someone with a death wish would do, and thankfully, Corporation Incorporated found you. It's a mad dash to build your spaceship and then launch it out into the galaxy. And how do you build your spaceship, you ask? Well, you will have a little mat with the layout of your ship on it, and in the center of the table will be a great big pile of face-down tiles. Grab a tile. If you want it in your ship, put it in your ship. If you don't want it, put it back. That's it. And there are a couple rules on how and where you can place tiles, and then you send them off into space, where they will encounter aliens and asteroid fields and all sorts of good stuff.
And a good time had by all.
And a good time had by all. Galaxy Trucker, recommended for ages 10 and up, for between 2 and 4 players. Takes about an hour to play.
Yay!
Yay!
We've been playing more Catan successfully over the remotely with our friends.
Yes.
We're gonna try playing Codenames.
Ooh.
But we're gonna have to do some like pre-selected card lists.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll be like an hour trying to find cards that match. Yeah, so that'll be good. Now, I thought of something while you were talking about that.
Uh-oh. You thought of something. Uh-oh. Galaxy Trucker, Codenames, Corporation Incorporated, going out into space, someone with a death wish, building your ship from the tiles.
Oh, I know what it was.
Hmm?
Nothing to do with what you were talking with, but what
okay.
I noticed was, wool fuzz in my tongue, was while I was holding up the box, I noticed my bright pink fingernails.
Ooh, bright pink fingernails.
They're still bright pink, same as they were last time.
Okay.
But today I received
more wool fuzz on your tongue.
more wool fuzz on my tongue. Today I received, I always thought they were stupid, but I've watched some training videos and stuff. I received what essentially amount to press-on nails.
Okay.
That I can customize.
Okay.
And get out to people who still want to have pretty nails while they're locked in their houses.
Oh.
I can do the nails for them and send them the full set so that we'd get like 20 nails.
20 nails.
So 10 for each hand.
Yeah.
Because then they have to be fit.
10 for each hand.
10 for each hand. Because
Okay.
they're different sizes.
Okay.
And nail glue and boom! Fab nails. Just like that. And then
Nice.
if I'm really smart about how I do it, they can remove them with acetone. If I'm smart about how I do it, they can remove them with acetone and re-prep their nail and put them back on again when they grow out. Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum. Nice.
I don't know if anyone will want to do that, but I can make it happen. So I'm going to take these off. I'm going to run down to the salon where I will be all alone because we're closed. And I am going to put a set on me and see how they hold up.
Alrighty.
I was excited by that. You probably don't care. But that's, some people like to know what's going on with my nails.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah.
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 I think that's probably about it. So we did last week's. Last week was a little bit, the lighting was blown out.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do a YouTube live, and then YouTube, well, it was going to be too hard to make it happen. So we did the Instagram live, and then we went, hey, if we save this video, we can still put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So all around it was sort of
mediocre.
Yeah. But there you go. That happened.
Yeah.
We're usually mediocre, so I guess it was mediocre.
I guess so.
Anyway, we are truly wishing and hoping that you are all doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Stay connected with the outside world without connecting with the outside world. Look for virtual knit nights.
Yep.
There are lots of them available and out there. We're doing one for our knit group. We talked about that last week. Yeah. Take care of yourselves. Do the right things. Stay at home. Keep your social distance.
Yep.
Don't go shopping just because it will release your tedium and boredom.
Yeah.
If you don't need to be out there buying something specific, go home. The people who are there are there because they have to be.
Yeah.
And they're putting themselves at risk so that we can get groceries.
Yeah.
And other things. Thank you to our healthcare workers. Thank you to all of the frontline workers, whoever you may be, the people who are collecting garbage, all the people who are still doing those things that have to be done.
Yeah.
That they have to be done, but we, the rest of us who don't have to do things, are staying the heck out of the way.
Yeah.
To protect them and to protect us and to protect everybody.
Exactly.
So on that note,
I think that's about it for this week.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us today. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell icon.
And comment. Tell us how you're doing. Tell us what you're doing. Tell us what you're doing.
Tell us what you're doing, what you up to.
Connect with us.
Yep.
Don't connect with us.
Exactly. Follow us on Instagram, Close Knit Family Knitcast. Join us on Ravelry. All the information for that will be on the end card and in the description. And as always, keep your
family
knitting close and your family at a 2-meter distance away.
Keep your family at a 2 meter, yeah, and keep your knitting close. That's what I'm trying to say. I really blew it.
Bye.